But I'll tell you this, though, Pop.
Pop. Pop.
But I'll tell you this, though, Pop. I love this man as if he were my son. He's a fighter, and I'm sure that he'll pull through.
Fighter. Fighter.
He's a fighter, and I'm sure that he'll pull through.
He was. Just checking on your progress. Go ahead. Make that fist for me.
Fist. Fist.
Go ahead. Make that fist for me.
Lion.
Lion. Lion.
Lion.
There was damage to your left frontal cortex. Your motor skills will be a struggle.
Motor. Motor.
Your motor skills will be a struggle. Push back. Heel into my hand.
Heel. Heel.
Push back. Heel into my hand.
And are out for blood. They lost big on education and entitlement reform.
And if the rumors about
Rumor. Rumor.
and if the rumors about
How about you recover first?
glad handing and kissing babies.
This is going to be a long 18 months. This program's in education.
Indication. Indication.
This is going to be a long 18 months. This program's in education.
The Zebenitrin will help with depression. The buspirone is for anxiety. Here you go.
Anxiety. Anxiety.
The buspirone is for anxiety. Here you go.
That's all I remember. Then I laid on the horn.
Horn. Horn.
Then I laid on the horn.
How's your mood been? Any episodes?
No.
Episode. Episode.
How's your mood been? Any episodes?
No.
Take this. It's for the steroids I prescribed you. It's one shot to the right thigh once a week.
Thigh. Thigh.
It's one shot to the right thigh once a week.
There's a new jobs program that we're calling America Works.
Oh, so it's a fantasy novel.
Fantasy. Fantasy.
Oh, so it's a fantasy novel.
This is a fundamentally different look at how to solve the problem of unemployment. It has the size and the scope of the New Deal.
Oh, so
Scope. Scope.
It has the size and the scope of the New Deal.
wherein the baby boomers will latch on to the millennials like a lamprey and just keep sucking until they're as dry as a crouton.
Suck. Suck.
And just keep sucking until they're as dry as a crouton. Well, I like the sound of that. So we're going to privatize Social Security and then raise revenue by hunting the elderly for sports?
Hunt. Hunt.
And then raise revenue by hunting the elderly for sports? People?
It's actually just an abbreviation to make it easier to say.
Well, if you make it small enough, maybe it'll be easier to swallow.
Swallow. Swallow.
Maybe it'll be easier to swallow.
I shouldn't have even come here. I am your only safety net.
Net. Net.
I am your only safety net. At the bureau. Nobody has a clue about her.
Clue. Clue.
Nobody has a clue about her.
To be clear, this is far more than just a jobs package. It is a comprehensive plan which aims at full employment within 2 years.
Employment. Employment.
And which aims at full employment within 2 years.
That we're going to be creating these jobs from
Infrastructure at the state and federal level.
Infrastructure. Infrastructure.
Infrastructure at the state and federal level.
Certainly not for the 10 million people who are out of work.
But practically speaking, 1,000 special interests, or...
Practically. Practically.
But practically speaking, 1,000 special interests, or...
It hasn't impaired my judgment on the bench, and it's early on. We don't expect any real symptoms for quite some time.
Symptom. Symptom.
We don't expect any real symptoms for quite some time. We don't expect any real symptoms for quite some time. I won't be wandering around the Supreme Court and...
Wander. Wander.
I won't be wandering around the Supreme Court and... I won't be wandering around the Supreme Court in my boxer shorts anytime soon. But I'd like to retire now, long before we get there.
Retire. Retire.
But I'd like to retire now, long before we get there.
Well, Justice, I want to thank you for having the courage to come and share this news with me. Are you sure the diagnosis is correct?
Diagnosis. Diagnosis.
Are you sure the diagnosis is correct? I'd rather be a pain in my ass here than over in Congress. And even the Republicans couldn't refuse a man who just buried his wife.
Bury. Bury.
Republicans couldn't refuse a man who just buried his wife.
Now, so you have time to think about candidates before I announce my retirement.
Retirement. Retirement.
Before I announce my retirement.
Let the rest of it go.
You know how devoted I am.
You don't have to say it.
Devote. Devote.
You know how devoted I am.
You don't have to say it.
I'm sure you have your doubts. I realized it couldn't be anything too visible, but...
Visible. Visible.
I realized it couldn't be anything too visible, but...
You know the way that you can help me the best is to do exactly what you're doing right now, focusing on your recovery.
Recovery. Recovery.
Now, focusing on your recovery.
Why ambassador to the UN? You will far more influence as the First Lady.
That's not the same as contributing in a concrete way.
Concrete. Concrete.
That's not the same as contributing in a concrete way. You'll make a good candidate.
Not by linking arms with the president's wife.
If I'm a disaster, it makes for a good campaign ad.
Disaster. Disaster.
If I'm a disaster, it makes for a good campaign ad.
It is classy and thoughtful. I won't actively block you.
Actively. Actively.
I won't actively block you.
Here's some Percocet. It'll help with the pain. All right, you have a 30-day prescription.
Prescription. Prescription.
All right, you have a 30-day prescription.
We agreed to this before we ever stepped foot in this house.
I know what we agreed.
How am I supposed to run for office at some point if I don't have a legitimate track record?
Legitimate. Legitimate.
Yes, at some point, if I don't have a legitimate track record.
Accomplish something and then look ahead.
Francis, let's be realistic.
Realistic. Realistic.
Francis, let's be realistic.
Don't be gentle.
Gentle. Gentle.
Don't be gentle.
We wouldn't know where to strike, and if he makes it back to the mountains, we'll lose our satellite track on him.
Satellite. Satellite.
We'll lose our satellite track on him. Do we have authorization, sir? Proceed.
Proceed with the launch.
Proceed. Proceed.
Proceed.
Proceed with the launch.